Hello.
Cool. The other guys will come in later. I hope so, which is bad news for Wuhan because you stuck with me for a while.
Yay.
All right. So let's start with a few things. Oh, really interesting. Let me share the link to Parasquid, aka Tristan. All right. So the first thing that we usually do in DevKami is announcement. So we had a few announcements coming in. Meetups. So next week we will have a few meetups. So we have the internet is slow at my home, but we definitely have a Go meetup coming end of the year. We will have. I think we're going to add the link for data journalism thing. All right, I brought the link. So you can check out devkami.com/page/meetups. So on Saturday, we'll have an Indie Hack KL session. This is happening at Wisma WIM TDDI at Beta Code. Then Ruby Tuesday happening on Tuesday 29th at Code Army at Oasis Square, first floor. Oasis Square is around just near Paradigm Mall. Then Golang meetup at their usual place at Taksuri MSC office at Subang Jaya. So then, okay, Tristan is here. Say hi.
Hi, hello.
Cool.
I know Wuhan. I know this guy.
Yes, I don't know you. Just kidding.
I know him too.
So let's.
What a small world.
Yes, unfortunately. All right. So what's the cool thing that happened for the last few days?
So we had 60 people, more than 60 people turned up for the DevOps meet yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, some heavily geography have been a failure. I blame the lens.
No, but that's one of the largest, I think.
Oh yeah. So we had for tech meetup is comparable to webcam. Okay.
Yeah.
So
also, yeah, and that happened at the Mind Valley Hall of Awesomeness. So
correct.
It was a big crowd.
Yeah, it's a big crowd. Nothing compared to webcam actually, and more nerdy.
Is it going to be like this all night?
No, unfortunately, no. All right. So the big event happening is AWS launched their fully managed AWS backup. I'm not sure what that is. That so Tristan, you remember Engtong that we interviewed last time?
Yep.
Citron. So so there's this thing called the microbit. It's a microcontroller board designed by the BBC. So what happened is the Rero team, Engtong's team, what he did is, I will share the link. It's on Bus channel in Engineers My chat room. So what he do is for that dev board, his team built a robotic platform. So what you can do is just take the microbit and slot it in. It will work. And here's the cool thing: microbit is can be programmed on the browser or the web. And so they got some cloud magic, but for the library to work with your device, you need the library approve. So Microbit Foundation approved the library for Engtong's team's robot. So anybody that have access, anybody that have the robot and the Microbit devices can actually just program online. So it's a big deal. It's not as big deal as other thing, but it's a big deal because it's a Malaysian-made product that got recognized.
It's a what? Sorry.
It's a Malaysian-made product that got recognized outside.
Okay.
And it's a robot, so I have some
microbit, is it?
Yeah. I will share the link in the chat room.
Cool. I actually was recently found this tournament called Micro Mouse. Have you guys heard of Micro Mouse?
I think it's a small robotic thing where people do
it's a small.
maze.
Yes, that's right. And I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I think one of the world champions is a Singaporean engineer professor.
Yep.
If you guys have not seen Micro Mouse, do check it out on YouTube. I mean, I was quite blown, and it's been running for a long time now.
Yeah. I believe it's one of the earlier robotic competition. It's a small scale robot competition. Very a bit popular among engineering students. Not here. Here we got our own robotics competition, but I heard it for a while. It's really interesting because
it's really interesting and it's really hard.
Yes.
I've seen some of the most recent entries. So I think the rule is that you have this complicated maze, and you're supposed to program a small little robot with wheels.
Yes.
And you start by having the robot learn the maze, find a solution.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's got to go back to the start.
And
right?
go again.
So there's a bit of recursive algorithm as well.
Yes.
But and then the next run is where things get really interesting. You're supposed to get to the goal of the maze as quickly as possible, and then come back.
Yeah.
And that's when things go insane, right?
Yes.
And I was like totally blown away because a lot of people kind of like do wonder. I mean, a lot of people underestimate how difficult it is to do self-driving cars.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Right. And people kind of like, oh, how hard can it be, right? We've been doing remote control cars and stuff for so long now. When you watch something like Micro Mouse, you realize, there's so many variables, there's so many things to take into account. There is a slippage of the wheels, right? Yeah, I was very, very impressed. I was like, oh, how come nobody talked about Micro Mouse for so long? Why I literally only just found out about it like recently, last few weeks.
Yeah, Micro Mouse is not the big thing among the robotics crowd. It's a big thing. It's a big thing.
Exactly.
But the hobbyist guys don't usually get it. So the hobbyists don't actually get a chance to join the competition. Micro Mouse tends to be on the engineering departments and all
academy.
That. Yeah. So the one that I'm a bit more close with.
They're breaking up.
Little more later. So it's in a way that you build robot from junks. So Hebocon is one of those things. Then in Sabah there is a group called Roboneo. So they actually have
Roboneo.
Neo. So it's Roboneo. It's
Neo.
It's Borneo. It's in Borneo.
Okay.
Yeah, so they actually did things
Roboneo. It's a play.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they actually did things like a small scale self-driving car thing, then for children to build sumo robot to fight.
Oh, sumo robots is another one, right?
Yeah. I'll share the link later, but we should interview the Roboneo guest Houston. Seriously.
Yeah, we should.
If I can know this guy.
I think people in Singapore is way more progressive in promoting like this level of tech.
Well, in the Singapore, you got the government that say we should do all these things. Here is everything is grassroots. You know what I mean?
I hope there's no Penangites tuning in, but Penang, the STEM. I mean, Penang has always prided themselves as like really aggressive in promoting this sort of stuff.
Penang Science Cluster.
Sorry?
The Penang Science Cluster.
Yes, exactly. And I'm kind of disappointed that they haven't like made it mainstream, right? I mean, I think it's one of those things which Malaysians should be taking a stab at this.
Actually, yes and no. Again, here's the funny part. I went through it. We should talk about that more. But you know what? Let's finish this to talk about your interest in computer education, because EduCamp KL is definitely one of those big things.
No, it's not big.
Okay, it's dead lah. So
it's a little terrorist cell group.
Yeah. So okay. So what other announcement we have? I think that's pretty much it, though. We had somebody built a Rust VM in Erlang VM in Rust.
There's a Innovators Bangkok.
Oh,
did you know it's happening?
I do not know.
23rd January.
Okay.
If anybody is interested in going, somebody I know is giving a 50% off ticket.
Cool.
But you gotta go to Bangkok.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But it's fun. Bangkok is fun.
I can pass you the I can pass you the link right now and have a look. I don't have time to go for this stuff.
Yeah, no problem. I will share.
So you've got like a head in. It's a bit more on the enterprise side. I mean, there's a lot of companies here which I don't know. Oh wait, sorry. There's Schindler, Explorium, Ayala, Telenor, AIS, telco guys, SAP guy, SAP, Thai Union, Samsung. Sounds pretty like innovative.
Yep.
Tristan, you should go.
Thailand had been a bit active, but then that Thailand, it's not Thailand thing. I will share the link.
They're so talented.
Yeah. Yeah, that jokes. Thanks.
This is getting yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I just remember this is not on our meetup page. On 19th January, there's a AI KL meetup. Again, I will share the link. It's happening. It's happening at. Oh goodness, the event page is for members only.
Oh, gotta keep it secret. What happens in AI? What happens in AI club stays in AI club.
Okay. So either way, I will ask for detail and share the links later in our show note. It's happening on Saturday. So, all right. So enough of rambling about events. Let's talk about Wuhan. Tell us about yourself before we go on.
About Wuhan? About me?
Yes.
I am a UI UX designer.
Yep.
I've always been a UI UX designer for as long as I can remember. Even when I was a PHP programmer.
But what?
Even when I was a Java developer, I definitely identified as a UI UX designer. Then when I found out that there was a role called UI UX designer, then I realized, oh my god, I am a UI UX designer.
Okay, what the heck?
Sorry. Oh my god, your internet's so bad.
Is UX?
Is your Unify not turbofied yet?
Okay. No, I didn't change the router yet.
Swimming is asking what the hell is a UI UX?
And what the hell is a UI UX designer?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yes.
I'm still trying to figure it out. Google seems to know. So I recommend Googling. Well, UI is user interface.
Yep. Okay.
Right? Tristan's like, So and UX is user experience. So, which is a very fancy way of kind of like just saying, when you use a system or when you use an app, what kind of experience are do you feel, right? A bit more empathy part,
right?
About using technology in general, isn't it?
Yep.
Is there a Marie Kondo way of UI UX? Like,
I Marie Kondo all the time.
Does this user experience spark joy or something?
But do you actually thank the bad CSS before you throw it away?
Do I thank? No, I don't. We don't have time for that.
Yeah. So you do not thank that stupid button and throw it away.
You already put stupid. If something is stupid, you don't thank it. Thank you for being stupid. No, you don't do that.
Yeah.
No, I think there's no emotion attached to this thing. Right? There's no emotion. You're a button. You either work or you don't work.
Yes.
And if you don't work,
yeah,
you're gone.
Yeah, gone.
You might work later,
but chances is
that happens too. Back in the old days, we used to. I mean, as part of a team of innovative designers and developers, we think ahead. We had so many ideas. We built so many things. Sometimes the market is not ready. Sometimes the user is not ready. Right?
Yeah.
So you launch it and then it flops, and then 3 years later or 4 years later, somebody else does the exact same thing.
Yes.
So there's nothing to when you get rid of things, you don't have to thank it because maybe it's just not their time.
Yeah. That's actually true. Yeah. I mean, but then I just glad certain things that gone like Blink. I'm just glad that Blink is gone forever.
Blink. What the fuck's Blink?
Huh?
What the hell is
HTML Blink.
HTML Blink. Is it gone?
Yeah, I think it's gone. It's gone.
Really? Have you tried it? Like
I didn't, but I believe it's gone. It's deprecated for a while.
Just that you should just fiddle it right now.
I am. Let me see. But I do remember we had this competition in JavaScript.
Enough! Go away!
like in JSConf where you do CSS blind.
Yeah.
The competition is where you are given a web page, a reference web page.
There's nobody watching, so
there's I do know.
I'm sorry. I apologize for my wife.
No problem.
So there is this this.
It's way more interesting than me. Sorry.
Okay,
I'm gonna start interrupting.
No, but you're given a reference web page and you see it, and then you code the CSS without being able to see what the HTML and CSS look like in the end. So you get surprised basically with what you're seeing. And I was hacking things and actually wanted to use a blink element at that point, but it didn't blink. So I think that was last year. So I think they really did remove the blink, but I think marquee is still there.
Marquee is what?
Yeah, blink is not, but marquee is.
Okay.
But you can replicate blink with CSS, right?
You can, yeah.
Yeah, you can do that with JavaScript, jQuery.
Oh, come on, don't use JavaScript for blink.
Yeah. You can even fade it out and fade it in if you want.
Yeah,
that's like using a spade for a spoon. Yeah, I'm going to use JavaScript to make blink.
But I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying you can.
But what's the UX rationale behind removing blink, for example? Like why wasn't it bad? Why was it bad in the first place? Like it gets attention, right? When
because you can't control, because you can't micro configure. You can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
It's however the browsers choose to interpret it.
So it can become
and that's just bad accessibility, right? Because if a browser chooses to implement blink at a certain frequency that causes seizures,
yes,
like that would be bad.
So epilepsy is one of those things that caused
by blinking element.
Correct. So people don't think it's I don't know, because I never have that, but I know it. I read that it can happen, but then so it's a Pokemon movie, so
yeah.
So that's that. So
when was the last time you used blink?
Before I did my first web page before university.
Around 10 years. Was it 10 years ago?
Yeah. Close.
So it's a 10-year challenge thing, like 10 years ago. Blink.
Yes, we should do the 10-year challenge with blink without blink. Oh, with flash without flash.
Oh, ouch! A moment of silence, please.
Yes.
I used to be a Flash developer.
Oh, TIL.
I was an action scripter.
Yeah.
2.0. I was invited to give a talk at a Flash Kit conference in Singapore.
Okay.
All expense paid. That was nice. Because I wrote an XML parsing library.
Okay.
In Flash. Don't ask me why. It sounded like something fun to do, and it was able to parse XML faster than the native Flash plugin thing. So people were like, "Oh wow, come and talk about it," and what is. It was interesting because now that I think about it in hindsight, when I was talking about XML, it's exactly like people talking about blockchain today.
Yes, I know.
XML is the future. Yeah, XML is going to solve all the problems. It's self-validating. What does that mean?
I don't know. It's like you can validate data. You can put whatever you want in it.
It's well formed.
Awesome.
And for a while I was the XML guy. It was funny.
Yeah, I wrote the XML parser before, but this
it's not hard.
Yeah, it's fun. So we just did a 10-year challenge on.
It did do it's more than 10 years.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We should just rename the show as the 10-year challenge.
More than 10 years.
Yeah. So okay, forget about anything that happened 10 years ago. What do you see as a UX trend down here?
What do I see as a UX trend down here? Okay, so I think we're definitely seeing more and more of consolidation, convergence.
Yep.
Everything is just going to look the same, more or less the same,
Yeah.
functional wise and stuff. And you are seeing more and more kind of like startup or standalone apps with a single function or single feature very quickly being introduced as a feature in a bigger app or a bigger system.
So a single function app.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
I think it's neither good nor bad. It's just inevitable.
Okay,
Okay.
but
So, for example, very recently, somebody just told me, "Hey, did you know that Google Slides now has got a Q&A, like in the presenters mode? There's a Q&A function." Do you guys know that? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I
no,
wrote.
I mean, really? No. Really?
Yeah. Do you know that? Did you know that, Swimming?
No,
Like Google Slide, when you do a presenter mode, there's actually a Q&A function now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I was like, wow, there goes another 10 startups died, just killed by Google.
Yes.
Right. So you're seeing more and more of this kind of things happening. If your feature is really that good,
Yeah.
hopefully, I think I've shared this in webcam 5 years ago.
Yep.
Telling people, hey, if you got a brilliant idea or whatever, I hope that you also have a plan to patent it or figure it out, because that's just going to be how it is. If your innovation or your idea is not being patented, you're a sitting duck, right?
Yeah, the counter argument is they got money for lawyer. They got more money for better lawyers. So
yeah, so that was also something.
Situation.
So that was also something that an angel investor, a seasoned Silicon Valley angel investor, kind of like told me as well.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're raising that seed capital or whatever it is. Actually, you have to budget half of it for getting a lawyer to an IP lawyer to protect your technology, to protect your innovation and idea, right?
Yeah. I mean, for a while, we nerds are a bit naive when it comes to that. We kind of.
I think we still are. Naive, never mind, but I think also genuinely we don't care.
Yeah. Yes. So we don't really care until it bite us.
No, I don't think it's gonna bite us, right? Because I think for most engineers and developers, there's less attached. I mean, myself, but I don't speak for everybody, but myself personally, I'm not attached to the body of work that I produce. But I am attached to the process. I am attached to the actual process of creating new work, of developing new work, of improvement. And I think to have any longevity in this type of field, if you are a maker, you keep making. Right? You look at I also realized this when I watched Adam Savage videos, right? He produced so many things, but he's not attached to any single one of his creations. He's actually genuinely obsessed and attached to the practice of creating and making things.
So So you're saying that we should be okay. So I'm trying to say that we should be being engineer instead of owner of website X.
Yeah, exactly. You're an engineer. You're not the owner of the bridge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Don't be attached to the bridge because somebody else can make a better bridge.
Yes.
And you are gonna get bored making the same bridge.
Yes.
Maybe. Right.
Yeah. So the whole idea of my relative or dad and all that said that make something you'll be rich, that is not going to happen, isn't it? As if we're going to.
I think I would actually flip that and say become rich because you're good at making things.
Yes, but not because we make one thing.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Yes.
I think that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
So Tristan, anything to add on to all this?
No, I do have a question. Like, how has this process changed over the years? Because I still remember we were talking about when iOS still had these leather portions, like where apps
Skeuomorph.
needs
You're
to
talking
be
about
like,
skeuomorph.
yeah, skeuomorphic design.
Skeuomorphism. Yeah.
Apps needs to be like the appliance in those things, and like it needs to mimic the whole whatever the real world counterparts are. And then now things are changing. So how has the process have changed for you personally? Like how has these viewpoints challenged your ideas, and then how has it changed the way you think?
I honestly don't think that it's changed the way I do things. As part of as part of a designer's job, it is actually to look at what is the norm of the day. Right? You look at the norm of the day, you and you adapt, right? And that is what has driven, I think, people in my field who has been designing for such a long time. I've been designing for a long time. We observe the trends and we adapt to the trends. And we are very objective, right? I think even back then when I was designing skeuomorphic iOS apps, and I did some of them, right? I remember spending at least a day hunting for the perfect kind of like crocodile leather texture, to just because. And we did it because that was what was expected. We did it because that was what we believed was what our users expected as part of the experience. And as we also ended up seeing other people who dare to try something else and break from that mold, we also, I remember we also kind of like say, oh, I like that, right? But we are very mindful of the fact that, are we just jumping on the trend bandwagon, or is it actually a better experience? And if we felt that it was actually a better experience, I personally push back. I remember talking to my stakeholders and say, look, we got to do it this way now. And, we were able to bring the argument to the table in a very pragmatic way, which is like, it will make the code easier to maintain. I distinctly remember the transition was quite swift as well, because these are not just designers who follow a trend anymore. These were designers who actually went and say, hey, I've tried this app, I've tried this new way of designing things. That was why the transition from skeuomorph to flat was so fast.
Yeah.
Because it just makes sense. It was a whole new breed of designers who were also developers, who were also data driven.
Right.
So that was kind of like in a way, it was like the 60s of the UX profession. We were communicating a lot, we were sharing data, we were working very intimately with engineers, right? So we were able to say, look, I can either design a skeuomorph app, right, and spend one day looking for crocodile leather texture, right, which is cool, and then the developers are, this is going to give me a lot of headache, especially when Retina comes out. There's there's 2x and stuff, and then we can go the other direction, which is more simplistic and minimalist. There were these few guys who did it and were are really crushing it. Let's adapt to that. So collectively, the designers and the developers just led the way on that. Is skeuomorph dead? No, I think there are a lot of games that are still very much skeuomorphic, right? So again, it's all about the context and the expectation, right? And I think that's great.
Right, but so we're talking.
I've yet to see like an ultra minimalist, flat designed fantasy role playing game.
No, in fact, game went to another direction.
Is there one?
Cow Clicker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cow Clicker. There you go.
Yeah,
it's free, right?
It's free. No, it's gone now, because they had like this end game or something where you had like collectively all clicks got counted, and then the cow or something, like it's an end game thing, and then it's done. Like everyone basically just finished the game.
Okay.
It's interesting.
So, but just I thought about processes between engineers, designers, and all that. But is it this? I know that you work with different environment, from the more modern to a more traditional. I try to be politically correct here.
Politically correct. Okay.
Yeah. So they're more traditional, like financial organizations.
Yep.
So how's the process? Is there a difference between processes? How's the adoption within the processes or design trends?
Okay. So my career in the last 5 years have been very interesting. So I think most people who know me knew me from when I was in Mind Valley, which was a startup that grew really fast and still growing, transforming, pivoting, which is great. I left Mind Valley about 4 years ago to join Maxis, a telco, and 3 years after that, I joined the bank for a bit of a paid vacation. So here's the thing. Even back in Mind Valley when I was running, I hate to say this, but yes, webcam. One of the webcam sessions. Part of the panels that we had, we talked about how the big organizations are going to wake up. And that was also why I joined Maxis. No, don't shake your head. That was the reason.
Yes, I know. Everybody knows Wuhan is awesome.
I can't read. I can't read that from behind. So. Okay.
I need a paper.
This ad is brought to you by. So I joined Maxis because they were all in on again. This is the phrase that you hear overused right now. Digital transformation, right?
Yeah.
It's the hottest and the innest thing right now. And I think career-wise, right now we are at peak digital transformation.
With Blue Ocean?
I go, huh?
With Blue Ocean?
I don't know what it is, but
I don't know either.
we're at peak digital transformation now. All the huge organizations are hiring digital transformation experts, left, right, and center. And the other buzzword is agile, agile and Scrum and CI/CD, and that I'm seeing these corporate people throwing the terms DevOps around, and then I'm like, do you know what DevOps is? And that it's like IT guy, isn't it? The DevOps, yeah, the IT guy.
Yeah.
So
what do they expect?
Huh? Sorry?
What do they expect? Magic happen?
I don't know. Like hiring agile coaches, right?
Yeah.
But it's great. I think it's good. And it's pretty normal. It's par for the course. But I think you are kind of like seeing the same kind of like frenzy when IT was the hot. This is like the IT 3.0 wave, right?
Yeah. Now it's called IR 4.0.
Or what? Yeah, IR. Whatever.
Yes, whatever buzzwords. I have no idea what it means.
And what gets more interesting was kind of like my 3 years in Maxis was great. So they were on the, I think they were on the leading edge of that kind of like transformation. I was very lucky to have a really good CEO who cut through all the rubbish and the red tape and just worked really directly with me. It was unprecedented.
Okay.
And it obviously pissed off a lot of people.
But what's the challenge there then?
Well, so when I was there was no challenge because everybody was scared of me. Everybody was scared of the CEO.
Okay.
And we were able to deliver the CEO's KPI for great user experiences, right? We were able to very quickly innovate on the apps. So that was kind of like what I'm known for. But I was also very much instrumental in the whole service design. I was helping out in kind of like designing all the back end apps that powers the dealers. We also come up with a process for kind of like within the Maxis employees, if their friends and their relatives complain about anything, we came up with a process to kind of like accelerate and provide our customer, you know, I help you fix this, I help you fix that. It was great. And that was a time when. So if you ask me any challenges when I was there, no, because CEO buy-in. Always nice to have that. Always good to have that.
Nice. So how about your next adventure?
That should be a separate talk.
Misadventure? Okay.
Separate talk, separate story. No, it's not, it wasn't a misadventure. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people. I have already shared this story with quite a lot of people because
Yep.
people definitely are very curious to find out what's been going on. After my stint in Maxis, I think everybody knew the CEO left for so many reasons. It was political. It was very much related to kind of like the Malaysian political scene, because of the owner of Maxis. Right. So there was a lot of things. It's always tricky. We can talk about this next time.
Yeah, sure.
But basically, for me, in my local microcosmic space, the CEO was done, and he was leaving. Along with him, a few of the key people that I work really well with was also leaving, all at the same time. So in a huge corporate kind of like machinery like this, and for people who are like me, who are quite disruptive, actually all the people that I work with closely were disruptive type.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we really believe in change, right? But that obviously means stepping on toes of people who don't want to change. So when they left, it was a red flag for me. Like, oh wow, okay, I can choose to either stay put in Maxis. I mean, and become not so dynamic anymore.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta be nice. Obviously, anybody familiar with corporate would know that when the head, who is very disruptive and changing type, and when he moves on, and you're in a limbo state, or you transition to somebody who's more BAU, and you are somebody who's not BAU type person, you're not gonna get along very well.
Yeah.
So the warning signs was all there. I easily had like a 6 months head start in terms of like, wow, the CEO is outgoing, this person is leaving, that person is leaving. One of them left for Facebook, another person left for Google. And I was like, do I have to apply for these big companies? Like, isn't there any other?
Yeah.
and then the opportunity came from CIMB under digital banking.
Yep.
And I went for an interview. I chat with them, and everything seemed to check out. They've been hired. They've been looking for this person for more than a year plus now. They couldn't find anybody, and my name popped up. And apparently, I checked all the right boxes. Have got that corporate background. Was able to deliver all the things I said I was going to deliver in Maxis, and I did. And then all the reference check. Joining a bank is not that straightforward, right?
Been there.
They do all the due diligence, and they send FBI to your house, and they monitor, tap your So I passed all that. And at CIMB, my role was actually supposed to be kind of like a product owner for the chatbot.
Okay.
For those of you who didn't know,
Yeah.
I was supposed to be the product owner of their chatbot, their robo assistant. I knew nothing about chatbots.
Yeah.
I was very, very clear that I knew nothing about chatbots when they interviewed me.
Yeah.
But I am a UX practitioner, and I know my tech.
Okay.
Right. So the manager who hired me knew what they were hiring. And poof, sounds all good. I had a few friends in CIMB who sort of warned me that things are a little bit messy in there, but I was like, that's cool, right? So my job was to go there, be a product owner, product manager / UX designer for chatbot, and to kind of like figure out, how to meet all the bank's extremely ambitious chatbot goals, which were not, which was not that. I mean, within the first month when I went and deep dive into chat. I mean, have you guys played with chatbots? Dialogflow?
I look at the libraries.
It's pretty straightforward. It's just a front end without a front end.
Yeah, it's you talk to it, they process it.
It's just chat. I think Tristan would definitely appreciate this, right? For those of us who are used to RPGs and stuff, it's just a bloody conversation tree. Like how hard can it be?
Yes, it's like a text-based adventure.
It's a text-based adventure. Exactly, it's a text-based adventure. So I was like, oh, okay, that whole conversation tree and the programming part, straightforward. It's just a ginormous switch case, and then it's nested switch cases and more switch cases. But you have that fancy little NLP layer that helps you kind of like be a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
So within the first month, I was able to kind of like synthesize and process that, and then I was like looking through the roadmap and everything. I was asked to produce a roadmap for 2018, 2019. Like basically like detailing like, oh, this quarter will deliver this capability and that capability and so on and so forth. And I think me being me, I felt that I really overachieved because it was like whatever that they thought that would take me months to do, I got that done within a month. Then things started to take a very sinister turn. From a technology standpoint, the chatbot platform that the bank, or in this case, whoever it was, I don't want to name names because that could get me in trouble. Whoever it was that signed off and approved on this platform was not ready. It was nowhere. It was a very poorly built platform.
Right.
Compared to when I joined that time, compared to what was available then when I joined. Dialogflow. Yeah. You also had kind of like the Hyperlab stuff. You also had kind of like the Microsoft solution, which was a bit more rougher than Dialogflow. Then there was also Alexa. I think it was called Lex or something. I can't remember what it was. Like I said, I went from zero to chatbot expert like very, very fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, working with the vendor of that platform, I was like, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? We need to operationalize this. Do you have access controls? Basically, like, if I was able to know that there are dead end conversations, right?
Yeah.
I need to be able to very quickly go in there and fix it. I mean, chatbots, you gotta be as fast as that, right? And Dialogflow, with the Dialogflow workflow, from the sampling, that means from the finding out the dead end, the conversation dead ends, to kind of like the service design. Okay, this query should be mapped to this intent and this fulfillment, right? On Dialogflow, I can probably, at each dead end, I could probably like sort them out within 1 to 2 days.
Right. So on the chat, how is it different than previous UX design, the interaction on the webs? So the question is more to ask what's the difference between a chat versus the traditional interaction on the web page, for example?
I think a chat is way more, obviously it's way more conversational, right?
Right. Yeah, it's different.
It's conversational and there's no UI.
Yeah, but the design process.
The design process, how is it? Personally, I don't think there's much difference.
Really?
What is difference is the appreciation of the channel, the domain understanding of the channel,
right?
And the fact that you want to make it very clear, right? So, for example, when you go to a website or a web app, you have this much canvas to convey to the user, hey, this is the main navigation, right? The taxonomy of the application, right? Here's a dashboard. Here is a do something with A. Here's a do something with B. And then when you go inside there, you're kind of like doing the create, edit, delete, or update. Everything is a permutation of that. And then after that, creating relationships. With a chatbot, you are kind of like forced to think in a much more micro service kind of like way. So you're kind of like say, hey, I'm a chatbot, right? I can probably do a lot of things, but for this particular interaction, I'm telling you broadly, these are the 5 most frequently requested things. I can either do A, B, C, or D, right? And probably 60% of you will ask me stupid questions. Go ahead. If I'm programmed to answer that, I'll answer that. If I'm not programmed to answer that, I hope that my designers have got a witty, funny response to keep you entertained for a while. That's pretty much the gist of it, right? Yeah. So back to the CIMB story, right? So at the end of the day, right, the platform that they had would take much longer time to patch this and fix these things. And I basically challenged my manager and say, hey, you know, I can't deliver all of these things. I mean, you asked me to study all these things and come up with all the roadmap and stuff, and it can be done. One, it can be done. Two, not with this platform, and we need to change the platform to something modern. And I was told, oh, I didn't hire you to change the platform.
What? Okay, yeah, typical. Yes.
It's not, no, actually, it was not typical.
No, I
So
used
it was
to.
not typical.
I used to be in the
It
environment.
was to put it very bluntly, it was a cover up.
Okay.
And I was expected to take a knee, and I was like, "How about no?"
Yeah.
And things got really tense. And with the then the general elections happened. We changed government, and all hell broke loose. Pretty much, budgets for a lot of these IT and digital projects was all even more uncertain.
Yep.
And that was when I was like, wow, you know, I can either stay put and wait and see for 1 year, 2 years what's going on, or do something else. And I decided to do something else.
Right. So that's where you join Hub.
And that's when I joined StoreHub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Not as chatbot, as general UX guy.
So I'm still very much interested in chatbot. I think there should be more chatbots. I'm very disappointed that so many people have not created more useful chatbots.
That's a challenge for our viewer.
I hope to change that, unless somebody else beat me to it. I'm very disappointed that nobody else has moved this needle more. Tristan, I'm looking at you.
No, well, we did
right.
try to experiment on these like way back. Remember when we moved to Slack, and Slack was very, very young that time. They were only starting these triggers, right? You have a slash commands, and then you like those things. So I think that was like the start of the sparking of ideas of, okay, maybe this is a different kind of user interface. And I think the reason why chatbots are not as big right now is because if you have a web page, the user interface is quite clear. You can click on this. These are the things that you can do. But if you're presented with a chatbot, like, what can you do? Then there's a period of exploring. Okay, can I try this? Will you understand me even? Can you do what I want you to do? And then eventually the trust happens with the bot, until maybe the reason why chatbots are very, very much like when someone uses a chatbot and someone trusts that chatbot, they use that all the time because they've established a relationship, just like when establishing a relationship with a person. But the initial take up of that chatbot, like there's the trust building part. So I guess that's the hump that people need to go through.
Interesting. I never thought of that much. I do read a book called Designing Conversational Designing Bots. Interesting book. Give me some idea. It explains what Wuhan had described just now. I recommend that book. Pretty heavy on the implementation in a way that what platform to use. How do you design? I think they talk about chat flow. Yeah, I find it very interesting. I don't have a use case for my project that I have now, but I'm looking around.
But do you guys use your Google? I mean, do you guys use Google Assistant for anything?
The only time I do,
I have a very strong use case. Actually, we do have a very strong use case. So the use case is actually like this. In our stand-up, everything is stuck on everything is verbal, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we describe our ticket as ticket number 555, right? nobody remember what is ticket 555.
Yeah.
So we can say like, okay, Google, show me,
Show me ticket 555.
5. Then here's another one. Show it on screen.
It fetches it for you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good use case. So we don't have Google Assistant in Office. So
Well, the only one I use, well, I don't have the Google speaker thing, but the only thing I use the Google Assistant for is setting an alarm.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to go through all of the menus. I say, okay, Google, wake me up at 8:30 tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's it. But for everything else, I find that actually having the phone going through the stuff is faster.
Yeah.
So
it's more like we used to it. It's more like we actually used to it. I played
don't
around
know.
a little. I asked them to do everything, including open the pod bay door.
Yeah.
So, but
so I've actually programmed. Okay, this one didn't require dialog flow. I didn't actually require a chatbot, but it was part of like my research into this whole thing. So today I can actually, and I hope my phone isn't listening. I can actually I can actually command my gate to open.
Scary.
Hold on, let me just make sure. Yeah.
Scary.
My phone is downstairs. No, it's not scary. It's because I drive, right? Sometimes I drive.
Okay.
So I would have the phone on my dashboard, and I can just say, "Hey Siri, open the gate."
Yeah.
And my gate would open.
Okay.
And then when I get in, I'll be like, "Hey Siri, close the gate." There you close it. It was cool. It's really cool.
So this uses HomeKit and stuff, isn't it?
It uses So this was my little So besides the chatbot, I've been dabbling in IoT as well.
Yeah.
Which is definitely fun, and I see a lot of potential there as well. You can really get these bridges really cheaply. These wireless switches and smart switches is really cheap now on Lazada.
Describe cheap.
I think you can get the Sonoff wireless switches like $10.
Oh, interesting.
These are the ones. Okay, these are the ones that don't have a switch. It's actually something you gotta splice.
Okay. So you have to rewire it yourself.
You gotta rewire it, and they're small enough to actually fit in the housing, but you might, your mileage may vary. You can also buy an RF bridge. Those are really fun to use. So you can easily make your RF and your IR devices a little bit smarter.
Cool. So that's fun.
Yeah. So I played with my home garage door is a RF based one. It's not smart at all. It's a pulse switch. One signal, if it's closed, it will open. One more signal, it will stop if it's in the middle of closing, and then it will just do a reverse. Totally not smart. It's just one RF signal, right?
But it's still convenient.
It's still convenient. And that's where things get interesting, right? If you just want to be able to send a signal, is very cheap. Is relatively cheap. I think I got the RF bridge for like $100, right? So the RF bridge connect to home bridge, and you can easily just say, hey, send this signal when I say open door, and send the same signal when I say close door.
Right.
Simple. Very, very simple. Then obviously I spoke to one of the IoT guys who was a real guru for me. He's like, well, if you want to make it smarter, you get a camera, then you train the camera to see whether the gate is open or closed. Then you'll figure it out. All these things. Then if you don't want to use a camera, you can buy sensors as well, proximity sensors.
Yeah.
But that is way more. So here's where things get kind of like interesting, right? You want to get those sensors, you need to do wiring, but your camera doesn't need wiring. It just needs to have line of sight.
Yes.
So I've been dabbling in that as well, just to kind of like see what is the state of IoT today.
Yeah.
Some of our friends have really like gone all the way, right? They can come into their room and then go, oh, it's hot. Then it becomes cool. And it's like, oh, it's getting too cold.
Yeah.
Then adjust the thermal. I think that's brilliant. But I think for once you get to that stage, there needs to be some sort of like a safe word.
Oh yeah, so we had on our YouTube channel, I accidentally triggered the Google word.
Yes.
So yeah, you are right. We need a safe
hey
word.
Google, and then somebody's thing is gonna you need sort of a safe word like ignore or whatever. But that's the thing, that the tech has evolve very fast. So now Google Assistant has got the voice print,
Yep.
voice match, so that you only recognize your voice, and your friend can't just go and say, "Hey Google, transfer $500 to my friend swimming." Then it's like, okay.
I'm just glad we are not that advanced yet, as in integrate with the bank and all that.
But do you think this is a general trend now? Because before, like, I think this is so in industry, like all of these things are obviously there, like sensors, data, things happening automatically, like you have your factory machinery. But now I think the trend is that all of that used to be industry level technology is trickling down to consumer level.
Yeah.
And then now we're starting to be able to see how it can help us on the day to day. Do you think this will continue on? And
of course.
aside from the sensors, like chat,
I would buy it.
what would be the, like, this is basically asking you as an oracle, what would be the next industry level technology that will eventually trickle down?
What is the what, sorry?
Like the industry level technology, like that can only be found in factories, for example. Like, because this is like sensors are staple of like robotic factories, automated factories.
I don't know. I think right now we are still okay. So like the example that I just shared just now. Hey, you're in a room and you go, "Oh, I'm feeling cold," or "Hey, I'm feeling hot." Right? It's still a verbal thing. It's still a verbal command, voice command. And that is still sometimes quite unnatural, sometimes quite clunky. And when you try to be more broad about the picking up of the intent, unfortunately, the AI is not smart enough to kind of like, are you saying it jokingly or as a conversation, or are you saying it as a command? Right? We are still not quite that tough. We're still not at that tough level of inference yet, right? But once you augment it with sensors, temperature sensors, for example, not temperature as in ambient, but temperature as in like a thermal camera that can see your body heat, right? Then you are having another dimension of data that you can work with and say, oh, there are 5 people in this room. This is the room temperature. And then in the room, the body temperature is something else. And, I've been listening in to the conversation for the last whatever it is. Should I adjust the temperature or not? I think we will reach that kind of level of kind of like sophistication where it's no longer explicit commanding of things, right? we will reach, and I think that is why all these kind of like fitness trackers and all these devices, as much data as possible to move us towards a level where you don't actually have to command things anymore, right? It's just gonna the next generation of smart homes or smart offices is just gonna try to, as you're working there or as you're living there, is gonna figure out your preferences, right? And you're gonna be profiled, and you don't actually have to command your lights to turn on and off. You don't actually have to command your your aircon and stuff and so on and so forth. Right? I think that I believe that that's the end goal.
What do you think about Elon Musk saying that we should have chips in our brains?
I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm a Luddite. So
if it's swimming is a Luddite, but if, like, let's say Elon says, I want some volunteers, will you volunteer?
Yeah, of course. This is not like, oh wow, Wuhan is just gonna be like because I've been researching into chatbots and I've been researching into voice commands. And that's why I also think that voice commands is not going to be it's not going to be as kind of like ubiquitous and mainstream as how multi-touch change things. Multi-touch devices.
Yeah.
And I think the next kind of like big leap that we are all looking for is direct interface.
So cyborg, it became a cyborg.
No, I mean, if your definition of cyborg is augmentation, then yes, right?
Yeah.
Today we are limited by the speed that we type.
Yep.
With our thumbs and our fingers, right? To be able to just get that message across, that communication directly from your, you think about it and it's, formed as a for command.
Basically, right? The next magical innovation is mind reading.
It's mind reading.
Yeah.
And they're already making such huge advancements. The supporting research actually in the field of what do you call it again? When you lose your arm, prosthetics.
Prosthetics, yeah.
Prosthetics. The biotech guys who's in prosthetics has already been putting so much research into kind of like, hey, you know, if you lost your arm, how do you get that nerve to mechanical interface going? So they've already put in so much research into that space, and now it's just more like, oh, you know, can we leverage on what we learned there for a direct brain interface? For, you know, the low hanging fruit is, can you just jack your keyboard into your head, right?
So, okay,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't see it any other way. If somebody ever comes up with a non-evasive way, cool. That means you just kind of like stick something here or something, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's fine. Stick as in like an adhesive.
Yeah.
Not stick as in like matrix. You know? But
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, I'm personally okay.
Okay, cool.
Will that be
Yeah.
something that you'd be interested designing user interfaces and user experiences for? Like these kinds of, I don't even know how it looks like, but these kinds of interfaces.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be. I think that type of thing is more like a low-level firmware kind of like programming. So that's one. So I talked about a few things. One is obviously the input, the direct interface that will take us to the next level. The second one is to stop us from doing this. Right? I think this is going to be the next important leap. Stop us from doing this. We gotta stop having this black thing in front of our faces, right?
Right.
And obviously there are very smart people in Google who definitely feel that they don't like seeing this either.
Yeah.
And that's why they invested so much in Google Glass.
Yeah.
Right? Implants, optical implants. Whether it is going to be on glasses, or it's going to be contact lenses, or is it going to be a direct projection into your optic nerves or whatever. Yeah, that's going to be the next thing. Augmented reality, augmented display.
And I just realized
inevitable.
That it's inevitable, but we can so easily just fake.
Not fast enough, not soon enough.
Yeah, but what if we take so much
because of ethical issues, I think, as usual. It's like, if we can only go back to the 1500s when human experimentation was the norm, right?
What makes you think that people are not doing this to themselves already?
Okay.
Just because you don't read it in the news. Just because.
Here's the question. The virtual reality view of the universe as a simulation theory is effectively there.
Why do you say that?
No, the universe as a virtual reality, as a simulation, is about somebody with a better computer simulating the whole universe with us inside.
Yeah, you don't believe that?
What's the difference? I don't know. So the chance I don't know. And there's another thing. It's called the brain in a jar thought experiment.
Yeah.
So what if all your experience is fake, and you're actually a brain in a jar with very good simulation pumped to your brain directly?
Remember I posted on Facebook, I'm convinced I'm an NPC. I'm an NPC, guys.
Okay, I can't tell. I don't know if I am an NPC. Maybe I am. That's why we start a podcast channel. Interestingly. Okay.
I'm very sure I'm an NPC.
Okay.
I'm an NPC.
But
I'm just no, because of the lack of self-awareness that I'm not an NPC. That I'm not an NPC. Therefore, I'm an NPC.
Okay. Okay. So So you get
and you know what? I've come to accept that. It's okay.
So I think we're getting a bit late.
Would you like
but-
some potions?
Oh, I would love some potion.
Well, let's so since we're going philosophical and swimming wants to close this session
No, no, no,
soon.
no, no. We had a few because you did a few things along the way, like
Yeah.
education, improving education.
Yeah.
So what's
So
your thing now?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, and tying into that, if you're an NPC, what is your purpose there? Is to give out potions.
Yeah.
I mean, like most agents that you write in I mean, it's simplistically, you know, even in a chatbot, you write it's called an agent, right?
Yeah.
In a virtual simulated universe, obviously things are much more sophisticated, right? We are looking at I am a very, very sophisticated NPC
Mm-hmm.
with a lot more things to do than just hey, stop that, don't steal that.
But
Much more sophisticated than that, right?
yeah, but think about it. Every time we make a game, we always add more intelligence inside an NPC, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, in a way, we can't really tell whether we are an NPC. Maybe we are, maybe we are not. Maybe ultimately we are just an NPC, like NPC with nobody. But
So that's where things get interesting, right? We are self-aware,
yeah,
and self-learning
yeah.
NPC,
Yes.
similar to how kind of like a hive kind of like network. I think even in this virtual simulation, we are starting to explore kind of like the capabilities and power of swarming algorithms,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That I don't know whether you all saw like how these micro drones, they've been programming it to kind of like self structure and self figure out and solving problems,
Yep.
right? So I think we are that kind. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Like you guys are probably I don't know whether you're NPC or PC. But if I were to design a virtual reality simulation, kind of like a simulation for answering a question or solving a problem, I would definitely be building NPCs that operate in this way, that interacts with each other and learns from each other, and kind of like, you know, ultimately have a move some problem solving thing forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And personally, I feel that in this particular simulation, the solution that is being looked for in this particular problem seems quite obvious lah. And maybe several problems lah. One is intergalactic travel, colonization of Mars, potentially. Potentially also to solve the global warming kind of like global warming climate change problem.
Mm-hmm.
Those fall quite nicely. I mean, as a computer scientist, right? It falls quite nicely into, if I were to simulate something, this is what I would simulate to try to find alternative solutions, and we are all agents in trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Or it can just be 42.
Yeah.
It can be just be 42. I am very encouraged because the fact that you, me, we are all still here means that our simulation is still running.
Yeah.
Yes.
We may still reach a solution.
Maybe, but who knows?
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah. It goes deep real fast. So let's move on from something back to Earth. Ground control. Okay. So
it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So I know that you're interested in education for a while, and technology and all that. So what's up with that?
I shared this a few times. You're not the first person to ask me, hey, what's up with EduCamp? If you've been to EduCamp before, I think Tristan knows this. When you get a bunch of technology-driven people, pragmatic people who also kind of like came together thinking that they want to solve the education problem, whatever that means.
Yep.
And I've shared this I've shared this before. The first time I did this was that I did this education thing for a purely selfish reason, which is to kind of like figure out a way to min-max my children's education, like just to be able to get a group of people to kind of like bounce ideas and share ideas and stuff. And that very quickly escalated to, hey, we should be solving education inequality.
Yeah. Define that.
The inequality of education is very much related to the economic gap.
Yep.
As well as technology gap.
Right.
So that problem became much bigger.
Yes.
Way much bigger. And the original intention of the core group that came together and why we came together was already irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because those of us who came together like, because there were a lot of parents and stuff, and there were educators as well who was kind of like providing education as a business.
Yeah.
Right. But we intellectualized, we talked about it, and like I said, like, from solving the problem of education for for privileged people.
Mm-hmm.
Privileged people means what? As long as you have internet, you know how to use the internet, you have no problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. I mean, I really felt that was really the ultimate truth. As a parent of children of that type of privilege, if your kid still messes up, it's your fault as a parent for not guiding them.
Okay.
And not just for children, but also for adults and grown-ups within our sphere. And I'm talking about like our parents as well.
Yeah.
There was I think there was an article that came out, and that really hit a nerve for me as well. And also, it's funny that you bring up the education thing, because it also made me very uncomfortable. There was an article that said that most of the fake news spreaders today are people above 70.
Yeah.
And I can personally relate to that because the internet really is a Pandora's box.
Yeah.
It opened up a horrible can of worms, and the original assumption of and again, this is definitely very unpolitically correct. When the internet was first opened up and everybody's on internet, the pioneers of internet assumed that everybody on internet is going to be intelligent and smart and
like
trustworthy
on their level because they invented everyone's like us.
Oh, how wrong we were.
Yeah, unfortunately it is.
How wrong we were, and even the original inventor of the internet, what's his name again? The guy who
Tim
Berners-Lee.
Yeah,
you can see the regret in his face.
Yeah. And all he wants to do is just to share research papers.
He's like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I created?
I just want to share research papers.
Why did I make www?
Well, it seems to be a story that's repeated because there's Ryan Dahl, the creator of Node.js, had this retraction a few months ago. What have I done? And he's doing anything. So it seems to be a story that repeats itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I do remember one of the things that we discussed there. Like you were pitching this idea of like curated channels where you get like videos and those things. Apparently, some of the ideas there are actually not necessarily they heard from it, but were also being thought of somewhere else, and some people made a business out of it. Like Edcast, for example, which is almost exactly like what we were talking about. Like it knows. Like curated learning is personalized to this person, so it's I'm
happy for Edcast. I'm so I'm so happy that somebody else went and did it.
No, but I just wanted to point out that I don't think that this issue that you wanted to solve in the beginning was just like you are the only one who was experiencing it. I think a lot of people all across the world was experiencing it and wanted to do
definitely yes
so probably once we have this high bandwidth connection with each other, then we stop replicating and duplicating each other's work and just say let's all just continue work together and then let's just do this, right?
Yep.
Maybe that ties in there.
so that was the gist of it. And when the EduCam group was trying to look for a solution for the education inequality thing, we got, I mean, like proper engineers trying to find out how to solve the problem. How do you bring children, or actually that's, it even went beyond children already. It basically went to communities, right? In the rural areas, go to communities in the more backwater places. we naively assume that because of this guy, that Indian chap who put a tablet on the wall. Do you remember his name? Sugata Mitra. Yeah, Sugata Mitra. Let me just Google that. Sugata Mitra. Yes. If you don't know this guy, I will give you that link right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it. I'm the relay.
I'm surprised you don't know. Streaming. I'm surprised you don't know Sugata Mitra. He famously put an iPad in a wall.
The hole in the wall.
Hole in iPad in the wall.
Oh, that one. Yes.
That guy. Yeah, that guy. And we were like, hey, maybe that's the answer to education inequality. Let's put a internet connected device.
Yeah.
Right in a lamppost in a village, and come back in 10 years and everything will be fine. No. So interestingly, when I went to Maxis, I was also helping out in this program called eClass. I'll give you the link as well. And again, I was very naive. The gist of this program was very, very similar to what Sugata Mitra kind of like expounds. Just put the tech there, and the people and the community will figure it out.
So build a better mousetrap, and the world will pave a road.
No. So one of the things that I did when I was there, I don't know whether you have time, but so I was very passionate about this. I still am, but I haven't. That whole thing has fizzled out for me because I within my thought processes, I have not been able to figure out a viable, scalable, exponential solution to this thing. And maybe I'm not the right person to solve it.
Maybe.
So with the e-class thing, I was in the corporate. We were funded. I had the power of network connectivity now, and we went to the rural areas. We set up something called the Pusat Internet Malaysia. Pusat Satu Internet Malaysia.
The internet center, cyber cafe.
Yeah, it was more than just a tablet in a wall. It was a center with computers connected on high-speed wireless internet, and we made sure that there was firewall so that the kids can't go to Pornhub or whatever. I'll be very honest with you. We did make progress because we also have facilitators. So again, it was more than just a tablet and a wall. There was actually facilitators as well, who was there to make sure that the kids don't do stupid things and stuff, and then to teach them and guide them and stuff. So it was already more than a tablet on a wall. And was there progress? Yes, but not in that exponential, like whatever that Sugata Mitra experience was not the norm for whatever reason. And the reason I feel is that so much things have happened between like just the iPad on a wall and now. There's now the tech, the applications have become so much more simpler to use.
Right.
You have got even simpler to use, and they've become massive weapons of mass distraction.
Right.
And I think for us, we are okay because we look at it and we go, oh my God, this is such a waste of time.
Yeah.
I've got so much more meaningful things to do. But when you have a group of people who are not at that level of kind of like, I got so much things to do, and I have a learning curve to get to kind of like to learn all these skills and stuff and so on and so forth. And that's not fun. I mean, we all remembered the learning curve is not fun. that tablet on the wall is now not just the learning curve, but there's also TikTok or Snapchat.
Yeah.
Or whatever freemium lazy game that plays itself.
Yes.
You know? And their web, I mean, when I was there in a rural village, it was very, very how do I put it? It was very obvious. It's like, for these kids, they're not gonna find the hard stuff. They're not gonna want to do the hard stuff. Because it's easier to be distracted with an endless stream of curated, personalized video content in 40-second, 50-second thing. It's a new drug.
Yep.
Maybe that's
distraction is the new drug.
That's the UX problem to solve. Like, how do you personalize something when the person doesn't know what they actually want for the long term? Because the personalization happens to be what the short term, like, oh, there's a dopamine spike. This is probably good.
There's a chemical, there's a chemical, and it became kind of like, in the beginning, I thought it was a political thing. Like, oh wow, if you want to bring this sort of educational disruption into the rural areas, you're gonna fight the government. Then I realized that no, it's not. Then I realized, oh my god, it's a totally different monster now.
Yeah.
It's the weapon of man. It's the distraction monster.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we just have to consume. And we used to had imagine that we bring computer to kampong. They're going to sell their wares, their rotten and stuff to the city. They're going to be rich. Not happening.
No.
Yes.
No.
So you know what? I do need some rest now, and I got a feeling we might want to do a part 2. And I got a feeling Google might want to cut us off after 1.5 hours.
I'm running out of battery anyway. So.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? It's fun. I got a feeling we got
I hope so.
part 2. Somehow, somewhere, I do not know how, but I already had our talk next week. We already had a good, interesting speaker. He's a creator of the Malaya library. So let me figure out how to bring back part 2.
To your chatbot escapades as well.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest complaint right now, is that it doesn't understand what exactly I want. So I have to phrase it in just the right way. But if there's an NLP package there that actually speaks my native language, I can and understands me, right? Because this
in Tagalog.
Well, Tagalog, or in this case, in the next week, it's the Malaysian languages, Bahasa Malaysia, right?
So somebody actually built an NLP model for Malay using deep learning.
Okay.
So that's so we're interviewing him next week. If that happens, like more modules to understand people, might be easier to use chatbot. I'm still not probably.
Or just learn English properly. Damn it. Just speak proper English.
Well, no. So my thing
Isn't
about
that easier?
my thing about language is that all language is valuable. It's a philosophy thing, but I figure how to come back to part 2 for you.
Okay.
Somehow. Yes, I'll call you.
Happy to be here.
Yes, we can make you a regular guest, so no big deal.
We'll see.
Yeah.
As long as people find it interesting.
Yeah, we got 5 views.
Oh wow.
Five live viewers, but usually the viewership peaks up like later on after we publish.
Yeah. So anything else you want to say? Anything else interesting and all that? If not, we're done.
Happy Thursday, guys.
Have a new year.
Oh my god, 恭喜发财.
All right. So I will
type some first and then Kong here.
Yeah. 4, 3.
Thanks for having me for this
no
talk.
problem. It's
been a
fun.
pleasure.
It's been fun.